guys, and welcome back to my Black Moon Lilith series. Alright, so in today's video we are going to be discussing Lilith within the sign of Cancer. Now, before we do get into this, I just want to take the time to say happy birthday to all of you solar Cancerians out there. Now, of course, this video is specifically for those of you who have your Lilith within the sign of Cancer. But still, happy birthday. I hope you have a wonderful day. Now, if you don't know what Lilith is all about within astrology, then please be sure to watch my introduction video. I will link it somewhere for you so you can check that out. Plus, I have inserted a Lilith calculator in the description box as well if you don't know which sign your Black Moon Lilith is in. This is Black Moon Lilith, who is said to be the mother of Adam and at the same time his lover. But she refused to be his servant. She wanted to be his equal. And so the Black Moon really stands for an independent woman. The thing about Black Moon Lilith is that Lilith wants what she wants, and so she's going to get what she wants. She is ruthless, and she just wants to have everything her way. And it's her that's going into the sign of Cancer. And of course, Cancer is a sign represented with the mother. This sign is ruled by the moon, keeping in mind here that this is the Black Moon, right? So you can kind of already start to predict how this might go down. If you have Black Moon Lilith within the sign of Cancer, you might completely reject and deny any vulnerability that you have, and you might reject and deny your femininity. You don't want to be all that sentimental. Like, oh, remember when we did this, and oh, this is making me feel so nostalgic. No, this is the sheer refusal of your past, more specifically, of your childhood. Family members might approach you wanting to talk about that one time, and you'll just sit there with your fingers in your ears going la 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 la. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. In fact, by having Lilith here, she speaks to you about any karma that you have connected with your family relationships, because she is urging you to address these things, to address the domestic and family life. You might be sitting at the dinner table with your family without any real awareness or recognition of what is being said. And this is because you are really blocked by uncertainty, as you become attracted or allured by unrealistic opinions quite easily. You'll sit there unable to truly grasp particular concepts as you remain much too wrapped up in your own emotional and psychological state. It's really both of these things that can lead you to either wanting to be part of the tribe or wanting to tear away from your family history altogether. But either way, there is a deep-rooted fear found through either of these approaches. On the one side, you see, we have someone who deeply needs to possessively mother someone else. You might become this overbearing, smothering, highly protective mother. This is all being performed due to this sense of dependency. Maybe you behave this way due to suffering the loss or absence of your mother growing up. Whether that be that she was gone, or that she was too busy, or that she perhaps died. This overcompensation due to there being no interaction or connection between you and your mother. And so, what you do is you attach to this idea of family, to this idea of mother. But on the other side, like I said, you might tear away from your family history. You just might reject any idea or thought of family. Or it could be that these two things, these two situations, scenarios, are playing out at the same time. It's like 5 legs are on one side and then 5 legs are on the other side. It's very conflicting. You put your left arm in, your left arm out, in, out, shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn around, and that's what it's all about. Hey, hey, hey. No wonder you might become overwhelmed by your emotions to the point of what feels like insanity. You want to keep your independence, and you look at the desires that you have and refuse to be part of the family. Because Lilith doesn't want anybody to crack through that hard shell and into that self-center, into that really self-center that you have. Because it exposes far too much of your vulnerability. You're like, don't let them in. Yet you try to then dominate and dictate what everybody else should be doing. It's literally this love-hate relationship with your family, just like the tides of the seas. One minute you might love them, then the next minute you can't stand their guts. Now, it could possibly be that you experienced some pretty heavy traumatic events during your childhood growing up, resulting in you isolating yourself. And this, of course, can result in heavy psychological impacts as well. You might find mental maturity difficult to achieve due to these reasons, possibly further resulting in you feeling as if you need this mother type in your life. It's just as though Lilith wants you to remain stuck in this continuous yearning for a mother. But remember, Lilith wants to reject any kind of femininity or nurturing or vulnerability. She wants to project this image of, I don't need you, I don't need anyone. And what she's doing, if you have this placement, is she's trying to keep you in this childlike state. There are these inner conflicts that just might be going on inside of you if you have this placement, because Lilith wants you to remain this helpless child, but also demands that you fight back against any kind of support. See, with this placement is that there can be deep-rooted traumas that are stemming from your childhood. It could have been a one-time event, such as an accident or injury or violent attack. Could have been an ongoing relentless stress. Maybe you lived in a crime-ridden neighborhood growing up, or you experienced childhood neglect. Or it could have been a completely overlooked cause such as surgery or the sudden death of a family member. Maybe a sudden breakup between your parents perhaps. Even a humiliating experience imposed on you by a family member within a public space. These are all different forms of trauma. And that's the thing about childhood trauma, is that there can be so many types, so many ways that children can be traumatized. And on that note, guys, I have made a video about childhood trauma, so I'm going to link it somewhere if you're interested. I highly recommend watching that video. And you know what? The thing about it, guys, is that if these traumas are not resolved, it can result in these feelings of shame and guilt and fear that can carry over into adulthood. And this can really set the stage for further trauma. I would also like to highlight here that recently I've been learning a lot about narcissism. Yes, yeah, I think I would really like to make a video about narcissism. So let's just say, guys, I've come to a lot of major realizations and breakthroughs, and I'm starting to see more and more how traumatic experiences throughout our lives can really, if not addressed, it can just lead to such destruction and chaos. And so I think that healing is really important. And the thing about it is that even if, right, Lilith in Cancer, speaking with you guys, and well, anyone who's experienced trauma as well, even if trauma happened many years ago, there are steps that you can take in order to overcome the pain and learn to trust and connect to others again and regain your sense of emotional balance. And this leads me on to a huge key lesson that you must learn if you do isolate yourself with this placement. And this is to please not isolate yourself. Isolation only makes things worse. Connecting with others face to face, it can really help you heal. So make an effort to maintain your relationships and avoid spending too much time alone, Lilith in Cancer. Now, I'm not going to get into trauma recovery within this video, but it is something to keep in mind with this placement. It's truly about addressing any potential childhood traumas that you have. But really, with this placement, you're able to bear the burden of excessive protection or complete absence all the same. Likewise, you could have rejected your entire family, or they could have rejected you all the same. Ultimately, everything concerning maternity and basic home is the underlying message here. So, if you do decide that you want to go on and have a family of your own, you might fear that you will not perform to the best of your ability, which can lead you to becoming rather stressed. You might stick and remain faithful to the same morals and principles and customs, all while you're really scared of making the same mistakes. And it's Capricorn opposite Cancer, right? Which will force you to reflect on these things, to reflect on the fears that you have. You must learn to form some form of stability within your relationships. You must learn truly what family means to you. It's understanding and making peace with that which where you have come from. Because by making peace with the past, you free yourself from feeling trapped by it. Maybe you can help others who are going through family dilemmas themselves. It's about getting outside of that shell and into an atmosphere where you can use your power to build a social or family unit for yourself. It's about allowing yourself to be guided by the unconscious forces. It's about taking responsibility of your own actions and managing your future. It's setting up a life for yourself where you feel safe and secure. Perhaps you'll end up managing a family business or creating one. Or perhaps you'll make a great teacher or a property investor. This is really about you stepping out into your independence, but not out of fear, you see, rather out of acceptance. And I know these realizations might not be very easy. You might find them to be awfully confusing and painful, but it's much better. It is so much better to go through it than continuously perform this side-to-side dance that crowds like to do between your desire to be a member of the family, yet wanting to reject your family, leading to you abandoning or isolating yourself. Between finding or not finding a family, or between fitting and not fitting into a family. But like I said in the Lilith and Scorpio video, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Much like there is light if you just poke your little crab head out of your shell. Another thing, Lilith in Cancer, is that your imagination might be rather distorted due to the potential traumatic experiences that you have faced, which can possibly result in you repressing fantasy and sexual needs and desires. Now, if you're a woman, you might experience fertility difficulties. You might possibly have a miscarriage or an abortion. Maybe you don't want to have any children at all. And again, if you do have children, you might be afraid of making mistakes. Perhaps you would be a rather authoritative or castrating mother yourself. These are the impacts of Black Moon Lilith. Not to mention, this placement can also come with sexual scandals within the family. There may be really dramatic situations. There could be major threats and dangers within the family and home. And if you do enter into a sexual relationship with someone, you might experience many misunderstandings because of your strong fear of rejection. If you're a man with this placement, you might go for women who are easy to obtain. You might even sleep with prostitutes, or you might enter into relationships where you know that the emotional depth is not felt. Truly, the relationship with your mother is very important here. Whether you have one or whether she did die or suddenly leave when you were younger. And this is because the impacts of your mother, right? They are so strong and powerful through her actions or inactions, through her words, through her emotions. It can result in you becoming emotionally unavailable, much like possibly your mother was emotionally unavailable. And whilst you possess a strong desire to help others and support them, you might be incapable of accepting other people's help and support. You might think that by allowing others to help you, it will result in generating a debt which the other person can collect whenever they want. You just don't seem to understand that for others, helping can actually give satisfaction. It doesn't have to, or at least it shouldn't, generate any type of obligation. I mean, when you do it, right, when you help others, do you expect it in return? Therefore, it's understanding this concept that there is no shame in it, that you don't owe another person anything if they help you out of the kindness of their own heart. It's not about keeping score here. Lilith in Cancer, emotional pain, letdowns and disappointments that happen repeatedly, that have happened repeatedly over time, it can cause, or has caused, your innocent heart to build these walls so high that almost no one can get through. And I understand, because when you experience constant feelings of frustration and hurt at the expense of another person's actions, it is only natural that you would want to protect yourself. But unfortunately, in the effort to keep everyone else out so that you don't have to feel any sort of emotional pain again, you also inhibit the most important thing that we can give or receive from another human being from coming or going. And that is love. Love! The sole reason we are here is to give love, receive love, and to be love, meaning that there are going to be times when we are the giver and there's going to be times when we are the receiver. But a guarded heart cannot receive help and love simultaneously and keep its guard intact, because in order for the help to come in, the guard must be brought down. In the famous words of Bob Marley, being vulnerable is the only way to allow your heart to feel true pleasure. Okay guys, so that concludes my video on Lilith within the sign of Cancer. Now, I'm fully aware that that video was probably very deep. I find that with the water signs throughout the series, this was the final water sign throughout the series, all of them have been rather deep, and I think it's because with Lilith in the water signs, it's really addressing the emotional implications and difficulties that come with her, which can be, can be really hard to address, I think, with emotions. I think I'm really coming to this understanding because I've been learning a lot about emotional manipulation lately, but yeah, that's just where I stand at the moment. So yeah, anyway guys, thank you all so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and if you would like to see more videos from myself, then go right ahead and click that subscribe button, and I will be back with another video very, very soon.